Welcome to the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. I'm Spencer, and I'm one of your hosts on this podcast. And today, I'm joined by the other two members of the League of Melanated Gentlemen who have come here to give you a review. Folks, I've already told you we're in a review season, and here we are. It's about that time.
Yes, sir. This is Brandon.
And of course, I am Jordan.
Oh, but wait! There's more. Today, we are joined by a guest whose voice you have heard before if you have been keeping up with us. Christy is joining us today.
Christy's back for more Acolyte.
Yes,
Hey.
indeed. Christy, we're happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
And so, before we get into today's review, we must first do the housekeeping. So, Jordan is going to tell you all about a few things. Where you can find us, where you can contact us, and just what all we have going on.
So we're on socials, of course. Everybody in 2024 is. So we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we're on YouTube, and we are on the Xverse, aka Twitter. And we are all at the League of Melanated Gentlemen podcast. You can also Google us. You can also do it that way. But that is all the places where you can find us and interact with us. Questions, answers. We got answers, all the good things. Don't forget to rate and review us on any of the the streaming services that you use, whether that be Spotify or Apple or whichever the random one is out there. No one cares about those. We just care about the big two. But yeah, and then of course we have some schedule updates. Hopefully you listen to us on a Monday because that's when we drop our episodes. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But on Tuesdays, every other Tuesday, I should be more specific. We have LMG Presents Marvel Multiverse RPG. That is the Marvel role-playing game that we have going, and we are in a fresh, brand new adventure. And we're located in New York this time. So be sure to check that out. And then on Wednesdays, we have Wrestling with Worldwide Willis. That's Brandon's wrestling podcast where he is talking about, wrestling, professional wrestling, not the real wrestling, like the fake wrestling, had to throw that in there. Brandon, what's anything important going on?
I don't even know if I should respond to
The
you.
disrespect.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. As you play a D&D board game.
Hey, come on, chill.
But we got SummerSlam coming down the pipe. One of the biggest events of the year, and it's set up to be a pretty good one so far.
So yeah, be sure and check out that podcast. And then we have DC Animation with Spencer and Friends, which is every other Friday as well. And that is Spencer's review podcast where he is going through the entire catalog of DC Animation. Mr. Spencer, what is on the docket?
The next movie we will be reviewing, which will be next week, is Batman Hush.
Batman Hush. That's fake Batman, right? If I remember right. Where's that one at?
What do you mean where?
Like where can we watch
Gotham?
it?
Oh, you may have to rent it. Max is some hoes,
Dude,
and they
Spencer, you
keep
making people
removing
pay
stuff.
for this. This is crazy.
Max is some hoes. I'm sorry. When I started this podcast, all of these were on Max. And then Max ran out of room or something. I don't know what happened. But they just started taking stuff off, and that ain't got nothing to do with me. So, there are websites where you can find them.
We don't condone that. We condone legally doing it the right way. But if you have to do it legally, Spencer got a place for you.
There are websites where you can find it, is all I'm saying. It's worth your time.
And that is everything we have in the podcast.
Excellent. So, you know why we're here. We're here because it's review season and we got something to talk about. So, first things first, spoiler warning. Libra, please.
Excuse me, gentlemen, but there is a strange phenomenon happening. I think it's a spoiler. Proceed with caution.
And now with that out of the way, because I know that you are a loyal listener, you have already heard us review episodes 1 and 2. Today, we will be reviewing the rest of Acolytes, so episodes 3 through 8. I will read a synopsis in my own words, and then we're just going to talk about it. I did my best to keep these tight, but you know how synopses go. So, you know, I assume it has been a while since you have watched all of like it, unless you just freshly watched the entire season. I gotta remind you about what happened. So, episode 3, Destiny. We open on Bryndock 16 years ago. A young Osha is avoiding her ascension ceremony by running away. May finds her and they are brought back home by Mother Coral. Osha has doubts about the, witch life, but May is all in. May gets sworn in, but just as Osha is about to, the Jedi interrupt. While the Coven claims to have no children, the Jedi already know about Osha and May, and they claim that they have a right to test Padawans. The mothers tell the girls that if they don't fail the test, the Jedi will take them away. Osha tries to fail, but the Jedi peep what's going on immediately and tell her to tell the truth. May is furious and decides that she's just going to kill Osha, so she sets a fire. That fire ends up killing the entire coven, and May falls, and Osha is saved by Soul. Soul then takes her to Coruscant and makes her his Padawan. Episode 4, Day. We open on Kofar. May and Kymir arrive to hunt Kelneka. Over on Coruscant, Osha tells Jackie that she is leaving, and Soul, along with the council, is reviewing the May situation. They are pretty sure she is being trained by a former Jedi. Before she leaves, Soul is able to catch Osha and convince her to help bring May in. The Jedi arrive on Kovar and use Basil and his great sense of smell to find Kelneka. Osha begins reconnecting to the Force, and May is starting to feel like the objective given to her by her master is impossible. May traps Kymir and decides to turn herself into the Jedi because her loyalty is to Osha, so she doesn't have to do this anymore. Basil finds May, and May finds Master Kelneka, but he's already dead when May arrives. The Jedi order her to surrender, but then her master shows up. Episode 5, Night. We open with Osha regaining consciousness after being force pushed. The red lightsaber is just too much for the Jedi, and he kills most of them. Osha tries to hit him with the blicky, but that just pisses him off. Soul sends Osha and Yord back to the ship so he can fight while Jecki fights May. Jecki wins their fight, but May's master shows up and May is able to get away. Shortly thereafter, she is caught by her master, who plans to kill her for being disloyal. Her life is saved by Jecki and Soul. Jecki is able to break his mask before dying, and it turns out that it was Kymir all along. He says that he is Sith, and now that he's been discovered, he's going to have to kill everybody. He is about to kill May, but Yord arrives right on time to get killed instead. Soul is pissed and starts putting the paws on him, but Osha stops Soul from killing Kymir. Osha uses Pip's light to get the local bugs to take care of Kymir, and May uses Osha's blicky to subdue Soul so that they can talk. May tries to convince Osha to join her, but Osha tries to arrest her for her crimes. May knocks Osha out and gives herself a haircut to look like Osha. Kymir survives the bugs, and May, disguised as Osha, goes back to the Jedi ship with Soul. Basil kind of peeps what's going on, and Kymir finds Osha's unconscious body. Episode 6, Teach/Corrupt. We open, again, with Osha regaining consciousness after being force pushed. Kymir has brought her to his house. Over on the Jedi ship, Soul is having trouble contacting Coruscant, but they do receive some of the message, and Soul's entire crew is dead. OSHA catches Chimere at bath time and plans to ambush him, but that doesn't exactly go the way she thought it would. He tells OSHA that he used to be a Jedi, and that there's more than one way to access the Force. Soul figures out that May is the one that he's with, and, you know, hits her with the blicky, knocks her out. The council arrives on Kofar to investigate the happenings, and Chimere tells OSHA about his helmet. May wakes up, and Soul tells her that he's going to tell her, he's going to give her a little talking to before they go save OSHA from Chimere. When the council sees what happened on Kofar, they deduce that a powerful fallen Jedi is responsible, and Soul's name is tossed up in the air as a suspect. OSHA's curiosity gets the best of her, and she tries on the helmet. Episode 7, Choices. We open on Bryndock 16 years ago. Soul and Dara, Kelneka, and Torben are there to study what they think could be a vergence on what they think is a lifeless planet. That's when Soul discovers OSHA and May, so he follows them back home, does some observing, and reports back to Indara that they could be in danger because they are doing cult shit. The Jedi squad pull up, and Mother... God, what is her name? Anasea, that's her name. Mother Anasea immediately holds Torben's mind hostage in order to get the Jedi to leave, but OSHA wants to take the Jedi test. Soul really feels it in his heart that OSHA wants to be a Jedi, so the girls are tested. During May's trial, the Jedi ask questions to get a better understanding of their customs. OSHA passes the test, and Indara asks the council for next steps. The council says to leave the twins, and the Jedi discover that the twins were artificially created by the Virgins. Torben sees that as his ticket back home, so he goes to collect the girls. Mother Coral tells May to get angry, which leads to May starting the fire. Soul kills Mother Anasea, so the Coven takes over Kelneka, forcing him to fight Soul and Torben. Indara is able to free Kelneka, and Soul tries to save May and OSHA, but he is only able to save one, so he chooses to save OSHA. Soul is ready to take responsibility for everything that happened, but Indara decides it's a better idea to tell the council that this resulted in May's pyromania. Episode 8, The Acolyte. We open with OSHA wearing Chimere's helmet, and she sees a future where May kills Soul without a weapon. May attacks Soul and takes an escape ship. Soul gives chase, and they both end up on Bryndock. Over on Coruscant, Venestra is visited by the Senate for, the secret mission, and some dude is watching Chimere and OSHA as they head out to find May. Chimere finds Soul, and they begin their duel. OSHA and May come face to face, and OSHA explains that she wasn't able to get rid of her negative emotions. She wasn't able to get those emotions right, which is why she was never able to become a Jedi. May tells OSHA that Soul killed their mother, and they begin fighting. The Jedi arrive, and May decides that she wants Soul to admit what he's done to the council. Soul explains that May and OSHA are the same person, and OSHA hears Soul admit that he killed their mother. This causes OSHA to kill Soul and corrupt the crystal in his lightsaber, turning it red. When the Jedi arrive on Bryndock, Venestra senses Chimere, and they head that way. OSHA and May make up after all this time, and OSHA agrees to train with Chimere, and Chimere wipes May's memories. May is arrested, and Venestra throws Soul under the fucking bus. Venestra then tells May that she wants her help finding Chimere. We end with a tight cameo of Yoda. And folks, that's the show.
Yeah,
Good work as usual.
go ahead and grab you some water. That was a mouthful for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the longest synopsis I've done. Like I said, I think I kept it pretty tight. Um, Apologies for forgetting Mother Anastaea's name. Uh,
I mean, them boys
It's
got some names on
understandable.
them. So
Yeah.
there was some names in there.
Yeah.
So like it took me a minute to get Coruscant right. Like I had to listen to him say it several times.
Mhm.
So,
I
you
definitely would have
know,
said croissant. So you good.
cool. Glad we talked about that. S- So before we get into, everything, Christy, can you give me an overall, like just impression of how you felt about the show in general?
I loved it. I thought it was amazing. It's probably in my top three Star Wars shows. Not number one because Mandalorian's always going to be number one, I'm pretty sure. But
Of course.
I loved almost every single episode because like I got to see action. That's what I wanted out of this show was some fighting action. We don't get
Yeah.
as much as I'd like to see in most of the Star Wars shows that we get. And like the Jedi moves, they were good. Chimeras making the dark side still look pretty sexy too. I mean,
I agree with
it's
that.
it
Pause.
it fulfilled my needs. Like I wanted to see the Jedi look pretty badass. I still wanted the dark side look pretty badass. I liked it. I liked all the characters. There's still a lot of stuff up in the air, which makes me hopeful about a season two and more fun to come.
Excellent. Excellent. Brandon.
Damn, I feel like the bring the darkness in the room. Uh, I struggle with this one. I'll be honest. I guess I'm not the fan base for this particular show, and the fact that I'm not the like my favorite part of Star Wars isn't the lightsabers, isn't the Jedi. I understand like that's basically what this franchise is based off of. So the action was cool. I just thought the story was a lot lacking a lot. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of like it was a lot of cool stuff that went on in the show, but story wise, it was kind of like, I'll touch on the acting, but our lead actress, I struggled with her
I don't
her
understand.
performance.
I keep seeing this take that people have. I didn't have a problem with her.
And this isn't just the show. This is every movie she's been in. I
Oh, she's
struggle
been in
with
something
her.
else?
She's been in 1,000 other stuff.
Oh, I didn't.
She's been acting for it since she was a little kid. Um, but yeah, I just struggle with her performance. But again, this show has some cool stuff. I struggle with the story part. It felt a little, I don't know, it felt not all over the place, but it felt a little like, I don't know. Some stuff didn't feel as important as it probably should have. But
Okay. Jordan.
I mean, the show was okay. To be honest, I was about to drop out after episode three. Like, I understand we had to get the backstory, but I was almost out. And then, episode four and five definitely brought me back in with the action and the bad guy. This is probably like the coolest looking, bad guy so far to me. Like, it was bringing me back to Darth Maul type stuff. Like, I was excited to see him. Story overall, it was definitely a little rocky, and the show itself it left me with more questions than I even knew I even had. Like, I feel like when people kind of watch the MCU and they don't know anything about Marvel, like superheroes, like for me, this is that same thing. Like, I'm like, what are these witches? Who was that random bad guy we saw? Which I'm sure we'll talk about more. Is like, uh, is this the first time we ever seen a lightsaber get corrupted? Like I was left with a bunch of questions. I didn't mind the acting, like the girl who did May and Osha, like I didn't mind her. I will say it did kind of get a little predictable there for a minute, like when they kept talking about killing a Jedi without using a weapon. I was like, somebody's gonna get force choked. I was like, and I was like, this is gonna happen. And then when it did happen, I was like, ah, yep, did it. But I didn't mind the show. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the worst. It was just like for me, very middle of the road.
Okay. Okay. Um, I thought it was pretty good. Like I wasn't in love with it, but definitely I don't think I had some of the same problems that other people had. I will say, yes, there were some moments where the acting was a little rough.
I don't, I
Mm.
don't, I don't know
I
where
don't
though.
I don't think it was throughout. There were just some bad line reads, I think.
That's
But
fair.
um and I heard a lot of people were like episode 3 didn't do it. Like there were a lot of people who at episode 3 were like, I'm out. And I didn't get it. I was fine with episode
I
3.
think 1 and 2 wasn't it. It wasn't like bringing us in. Like episode 1 is like brings you in. You're all in, and then 3 will being like a backstory for me. It's like it's a little lull.
Okay. And episode 7 was just episode 3 again from a different
Right. Different
perspective.
point of view. Yeah.
Which I
So
was fine with that one.
and that's what I'm saying. Like people hated episode 3, but enjoyed episode 7, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, um, all right. So we can kind of talk through the show at this point. Um,
I already got a question.
okay.
Who is these witches? Does anybody know who these witches are? Like, is this the same people who like was on the other show on the other planet? You know what
I
I'm talking
think
about?
they're different.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
like
think
I
it's
think
different.
because those are Night Sisters,
Yeah,
and
Oh,
those are nice. This is
these are
like I
not.
think again, our experts will have to correct me, but I don't remember these people ever being brought up before.
that's what I was going to ask.
This
Like,
Well,
is,
particular,
is
they're
this been
extinct now.
established? Oh, are they?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like they
true
Oh,
because they
oh, I
like
died
forgot they
all
all
on the planet.
died.
like
Yeah, yeah,
we watched them get wiped out.
Well,
yeah.
did they? Because the sister or the one person, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, we
So
don't know.
wait, so these are
Whatever.
force witches, so they're one with the force, but they're kind of evil, or they're not evil.
I think that the whole idea of them is so I'm gonna have to go here. Okay. So when it comes to Christianity, there's a pretty, established idea that there's godly magic and that there's ungodly magic. Anything that is not of God is the devil. It's evil. It is, not to
Rebuke it.
be, yeah, like it is not to be viewed positively at all. But it could potentially be from the same pool of magic, depending on who you ask. And so whenever you have Jesus doing street magic, it's fine. Whenever you have Beelzebub doing street magic, it's not cool. And so I think that they were trying to make that allegory, like the Jedi are the Christians in the scenario. They're using it for the right reasons. They're using it in the right
This
way,
is a wild argument right now.
and they're
Yeah, it's
doing it
pretty accurate. I'll give
they're
him.
they're doing
Is
it the
it?
way it's supposed to be done. And because for them to say it's a force cult and anything that is not the Jedi, it's a cult. That's what the Christians do. If you believe in anything else, it's either demonic or a cult. There's no way around it. There's no exceptions. That's just what it is. If you're not with us, you with them. And so the Jedi are saying they're misusing the force. They're using the force in a gross evil
Gotcha.
way. It's the same way that like Christians view voodoo. Like they're like, no, that shit is real and that shit is evil. And voodoo just exists. Like it can be used in a negative way, but it isn't like
So
voodoo itself is not a bad thing. But if you ask Christians, oh, that shit ain't right.
so then what is the did they explain, or am I slow, or like did they explain the harmonic convergence?
The Virgins, I don't know if the Virgins had like great big explanation. They basically just said
No.
it's a force event that they're not even 100% sure is real, and that's what they were there investigating. Was like they think that there's a Virgins and they think they know what the Virgins is, but they're not quite sure, and so they're there looking to see what they can find. Like they're investigating and trying to figure it out. And then whenever they see Osha and May and they, learn some stuff, they're like, oh shit, the Virgins is real. It
I
actually
wish
is a
we
thing.
could have saw. I wish we could have saw Ocean May get created. Like I wanted to see that. Like if it was one person, I want to see like that whole process. Like I would love to see that.
Yeah, I agree. That would have definitely added some. That'd have been just cool to see in general.
Yeah.
Keep watching the show and keep reviewing it well, and maybe we will get to see
Yeah,
that in
I mean,
another
got one
season.
chance.
I was like, I don't. This one, they might not give a second. They might not give this one a second shot. They was like, but okay, all right. I guess we can get back on track. Episode 1.
Hold
I
on,
got
Is-
maybe.
That's a good
real
question.
quick.
Are there any other? Yeah, are there any other
Yeah.
things?
I have a question just for Christy. You said this is your third favorite Star Wars. You said Mandalorian. What's your second?
I think it's probably Ahsoka.
Oh, the Andor disrespect is crazy. But okay,
Dude,
okay.
I know Andor is on a pedestal
I
for a
don't.
lot of people. I do like Andor, but it's not one that I want to rewatch.
Those first 3
Gotcha.
episodes.
It's
That's
it's a
what
it's a
killed it.
toughie.
Yeah.
It's a really good show, I will admit, but I've already watched The Acolyte several times over, and not just because I'm reviewing it, because I enjoy it. And I've rewatched
Mm,
Ahsoka, and I've watched The Mandalorian over and over again. I'll just put that on in the background. So
right.
if I'm interested enough that I'm rewatching, like it's gonna make the list, and Andor just isn't up there for me.
Brandon, honestly, is Andor rewatchable to you?
Very much so.
I mean, I don't know what you expected he was gonna say. You knew he was
I
gonna say
mean, no,
that.
I mean it's rewatchable in different like if I want to feel now, if I just want to watch mindless, you know, Jedi fights, then no, that's not the show you should be rewatching. But if you want to be like the acting, the story, all of it is pinpoint, almost perfect. Yeah, and it has some cool scenes. It's not like it's all dialogue. Like it has some really cool, like this
This,
when
I
they
would say,
escape the.
this show had cooler scenes than Andor did.
I mean, I give you that, but I mean, it should. It had 95 Jedi.
I'm just saying because
It,
when we saw the bad guy, hey, he was a bad
see,
guy.
okay, we can get to the bag because I think it's a little cap. Like I think we're a little overrating the.
How is
the
he over?
dude.
How he literally pulled up?
Bro,
You can't
he
tell me
wore a
that helmet
robe with
wasn't cool.
with a cool little mask. Like it's nothing. I don't know. Compared to Star Wars, that's not that innovative. It
When
was
when
just,
ha when have you seen a helmet cancel out a lightsaber? And they didn't even know what happened.
I mean, that was cool. That like the effect of the mask. It was just. I thought you said he was the coolest looking. And I was
No,
like,
no,
that's not.
no. I mean, well, I mean, him personally, like outside of the suit, like he was still pretty
Whoa,
scarred up. Come on, bro.
pause,
I can't be
pause, my boy.
can't be comfortable in my. Come on, man. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is what's keeping us
You the
back.
main one. Chill out.
But I would say, like he looked very cool when he pulled up and like him fighting and everything. But I will say his lightsaber was a little useless because I don't know why he got a dagger lightsaber. Like,
Most people do it. Ahsoka does.
yeah, but Ahsoka's looked longer than his did.
Yeah, his did look a little babyish.
Yeah, hers are balanced out where he's
Right.
got like the long one and then the little dagger one.
Yeah, I'm
Which
like,
little daggers come in handy. You can mortally wound with little daggers.
Little daggers coming in.
I know that's not disrespectful. Huh?
That's
Some dude right now
crazy.
is like, I got an average size dagger. Come on now.
So, couple things. First of all, Jordan, you're allowed to call that man handsome. That's okay. You're safe
Yes,
here.
Brandon over here. Brandon over here acting like I can't. Come on,
Okay. Well, now we want to be accepted, huh?
Second thing, yeah, I was under the impression that the little dagger was specifically for like sneak attacks and for like, oh, gotcha.
Well, it didn't work
Yeah.
when he pulled it out.
Well, that's because Soul is about it. Like,
He killed the girl with it.
yeah, like I'm sure that thing is very effective. Did he
Whoa,
kill?
whoa,
He killed the
whoa!
Padawan.
No, he
Kill
didn't.
Jackie with it?
I thought he
Killed
just used the lightsaber. That wasn't the short one.
That was a short one.
Am I? Are we
He
watching
put
the
three
same
holes
show?
in her.
Yeah, but I don't think that was the small one, was it?
He had two
I'm
in his
out.
hand. I'm assuming he
I'm
used
out
it.
to go. No, I thought he just hit it with the 1, 2, 3 like a shank, but like with a actual without with the actual lightsaber, not the little short one. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch that part.
You can't shank with a long like
Yeah.
if somebody's getting shanked, it's gonna be with the little daddy.
I got,
She hit him with three.
but did
He
he
hit her
really
with
use
three
the?
quick ones.
No. There's no way because like the first time we saw him use it was like like episode like 7 or something when he popped it out.
No, it wasn't.
We saw him use it before that.
No, yeah, we knew he had a double.
Yeah,
I must be slow. Okay.
It was a while ago. That's the thing.
there's a lot of lightsaber battles.
And like, if you watched it like when it came out, yeah, like the last time you saw it was not recent.
Okay. Yeah. I swear I thought it was like episode 6 or 7. Like when he first took it apart, I was like, oh, I didn't know he had that.
No, we saw him. Yeah, we saw him use it whenever he killed Jackie
Youngling.
and maybe even
Not young.
Yord. But
Oh
No,
yeah,
no, I thought
remember-
he's not your neck though.
I'm saying like
Yeah.
we saw it during that fight.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay.
But okay, so we open in episode 3 with on Brindok, where we are seeing Osha and May's children, and we're basically given their origin story. So Osha has no desire to ascend in the witch cult, and May is like, "Oh yes, I'm all in. Let's fucking go."
Mm.
And they are, found by Mother Coral. When I saw Mother Coral, I was like, "Is she that same shit Darth Maul is?"
I thought the same thing. She kind of looked like an alligator too. But yeah, I get that.
Because I don't know what those are, but I was like, yeah, they know each other, obviously. And so we kind of just see Soul accidentally come across them, and then
Oh, my bad. After watching episode 3 and episode 7, I'm kind of convinced Soul might be a little predatory.
wow, okay,
Whoa, didn't know you were going there.
Dude,
I didn't either.
the way he like when he first saw them, like when we see from his point of view in episode 7, I was like, I don't know, man. He was kind of giving some predatory vibes. Like the way he was just like obsessed with them that fast. But I guess he's like they're using a force and he probably hasn't seen that, I guess. But like, I don't know. He got too like, in my opinion, he was like too overbearing, like from the beginning of them seeing him.
So that also, in my mind, spoke to Christianity, because those children were in danger because they were doing something else, and he needed to save them. They needed to be saved.
I mean, he had a legit point though. He just got created on some random.
But he didn't know
But
that.
I mean, like you said, they think that's the wrong way of using the force. Then yeah,
Yeah.
But
And
but
so
at that time, but at that time, he didn't know that, right?
no, he had
Well, he was-
deduced it.
yeah, he deduced like something was going on. Like they weren't because they got the little records of their blood and whatnot.
That
And-
was before all that, though. When he first saw them at the yellow tree, though.
Well, when he first discovered them, I don't know if he knew that they were created by the Virgins yet, but he did know that in his mind they were in danger because they were a part of a witch force cult.
Yeah,
And so I looked at it more as him being overly protective rather than him being predatory.
Yeah, but how are you overly protective on these kids you just saw for the first time?
Everybody has
Mm.
I mean, I'm not going to say everybody. A lot of people have an instinct to protect children. Like, I think
Right.
that's natural. Like,
So
if
you think it's just
saw-
a Jedi thing, but in a galaxy far, far away, they feel that way too, I guess.
No, I think that just like
it's
being
natural.
alive,
Like,
yeah, like if you saw a random child in danger,
In the middle of the woods, I'm gonna be like, this sounds like a setup.
and
I
that's
mean,
what
he's used to the middle of the woods. He's in that area.
yeah, like the
You know what I
Jedi, they explore and all that. But
So,
what I'm
wait,
saying
wait.
is, if you saw a random child in
In
danger,
the middle of the woods,
even if you didn't do anything,
Woods don't matter.
you
on
would,
a planet they didn't even know was inhabited, and I just saw 2 random kids. That seemed like a setup.
yeah. Now, like, of course, I believe they're in danger. They're in the middle of the woods. Like,
Right.
And
Ain't
on
even
a
on a
planet he didn't know was inhabited.
I'm not saying that you would necessarily act, but I am saying that
You
hopefully,
know what Jordan would do.
No, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That seemed not natural. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it around.
he'd see them kids and be like, "Oh, those are demons."
I've
Obviously,
seen, I've seen too many. I've
have
seen
to
too
deal
many
with that.
movies where the bad guy's like, "Oh, I'm hurt. I'm driving past. Oh, I'm hurt. I need help," and then boom, set up. So I'm good.
Mm-mm-mm.
Well, all I know is most people want to protect the kids, generally speaking. I'm not saying that everybody will act, because Indara was ready to be like, "No, we're going home."
See, that would have been me and Darb. Like, yo, that's none of my business. I'm ready to go and get up out of here.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, cool. But
I'm a skedaddle.
he felt he felt like those children were in danger and he wanted to save them, which is a part of his mission and goal
Okay,
and objective and yada yada yada. So
that's fair.
if you got Predator vibes, okay. I
Yeah,
did not.
he got just too obsessed with me too fast.
Did anybody else
Percy, did
get
you get?
Predator vibes?
Yeah.
So I did a little bit, but I
Hmm.
also I had to think back like, oh, in the future or in the present, I guess, he's teaching Padawans.
Yeah.
Maybe he's found his calling with children. He's just very good with them. So I was trying to like call back to that, like maybe he does feel the need to be very protective. But at the same time, like I'm a mother, I see two kids out in the woods and another woman coming out and yelling at them. I'm like, this is a family thing. We should just go.
I forgot about that point too. Like he really wanted a Padawan, and what wasn't Indara was like, no, like not right now. Why didn't he have one? I can't remember, but I know he really wanted one. And then he saw these two girls, and then like that's what I'm saying. He got too obsessed too fast. Like he was like, oh, I wanted to be on Padawans. Like I don't know, it
Well,
was too fast.
I think another part of the reason that I didn't get Predator vibes was because it almost felt like a force connection with just OSHA. Like he wasn't worried about May at all, really.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's a little predatory.
I
Mm-mm-mm.
okay. I didn't get that.
Yeah. I didn't get it either. But
And
yeah.
It
I'm
wasn't
sure
very strong though, because at times he couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah,
However, they are the same person apparently. So
Right.
yeah. Like I understand that because they're not just twins, they're one.
Yeah.
So not being able to tell them apart, yeah, I get it.
also,
Yeah.
I have so many questions with that. Honestly, we might not even get through all these episodes. 'Cause, okay, so with them being one, do you think they are like two different emotions of the same person, or like two different sides of the same person? Or like, how do you think that worked? Like one was like, oh, the really bad thoughts, the really dark side of the person, and the other person was like, oh, the really righteous person, the thing that want to do right.
I feel like we saw both sides in both of them.
Well,
Just
because they end up
Mhm.
flipping.
certain
Yeah.
situations bring out certain feelings.
Right?
I
It,
That's
I
true.
feel like they're kind of equals.
yeah.
It felt to me like there was always like a teeter-totter. Like they never felt the same way at the same time. So
Mhm.
it seemed like whenever uh like because anytime they would talk to each other, OSHA was furious and May was like very like soft and very open and very vulnerable. And May was, furious. Whenever they weren't together and whenever OSHA wasn't angry, May had all of the anger. So it felt like they
That's a good point.
were sharing a bucket of emotions.
Hmm. I can see that.
Um, but I don't know if that's true, but that's what it felt like. Um, up until they reconciled.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But who knows? So we see that the Jedi arrive because they're having the Ascension ceremony, and the Jedi are like, "Hey, you have kids here," and they're like, "No, we don't. What do you mean? No, there are no children here. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "No, we know you have kids." And
Right.
OSHA shows up, and then the Jedi are basically like, "We have a right to test them." And I'm like, "So you just gonna walk up to this cult and
Yeah.
claim divine right?"
I felt that
Jedi
same way.
privilege.
Yeah,
The
bro, that
Jedi
Jedi
Okay.
privilege.
privilege is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so whenever Mother Anastasia took over Torben's weak ass, I was like, "Yep, that's what happens."
Right.
Because yeah, his eyes turned black, and I was like, "Oh no,
Yeah. I thought he was
he's."
done for.
I thought he was done for. Like I thought,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna have this. It's gonna be a war because
That's folded.
good God Almighty, that killed him. But yeah, Because Anastasia, like, she had him, but was still like out here having,
Yeah, it was still talking.
discussion. Yeah, so
Yeah.
when it wasn't a mind transfer, she just like had him and was still able to, say, I will release him if
Hmm.
you get the fuck out of my house.
Right.
So they test them, and of course, uh May fails the test, and Soul is immediately like, they told you to fail, didn't they? Just tell the truth. Just be honest. If you want to be a Jedi, cool, let's do that. If you don't, fine. And so she passes the test, and May gets all pissed, and we later find out why. But yeah, she sets the fire, and Soul saves Osha, and then yeah, makes her the Padawan.
Now let's get to the good episode.
Okay. What I will say though, one of my favorite quotes from episode 3 was, "The Jedi don't take children." They absolutely said that in this episode, and I was like,
That dude
They
capping hard, huh?
literally, yeah.
I didn't even hear that. That's a big cap.
that's funny.
Right.
And so yeah, whenever I heard that, I wrote it down. I was like, I know he didn't just say the Jedi don't take children. I know that's not what he said,
Right.
but
Yeah,
okay.
it's kind of, they're in the business of, they think it's righteous, but still.
I mean, so does
Again,
Batman.
families.
So I mean, it's right there. Batman might be a Jedi, honestly. So
Wow.
So
Shout out to
it's a little different with Batman, but we're not going to do that right now.
I mean, it's debatable. I will say one thing I really do like though about like the beginning of like the Star Wars show. I like the little helmet thing, like the blue and red flashing across the helmet. I think that looks very clean. Like
Yeah.
especially if you got like a nice like HD TV, I think that looks very clean. I enjoy like seeing it every single time. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. I wish MCU would do that, but I mean,
I
their
agree.
intros are dope too, but
Yeah.
So they should update it with every new helmet we see. Like anytime we see a new helmet, they should do that in the next show. I think that would be pretty dope.
I kept
assume-
waiting to see that, like Chimere's helmet. What is it gonna appear? I didn't
Right.
see it. As long as
I didn't see it
Bo-Katan's
either.
helmet remains in there, I'm good.
Yeah. No,
I
I think they
assumed,
should.
I assumed that his would just be added to the next show.
That would be dope. Like I said, I hope they do that every time we see a new one. So
did you? I didn't love the design. I don't know why. No,
I thought it was
the
creepy and
effectiveness of it
cool
was
looking.
dope.
I think I
Yeah,
like
I
the
didn't-
creepiness of it. Like with the teeth, it looked cool.
It,
I didn't
it was
really-
effective. The effectiveness of it was dope.
Yeah, like I didn't really have feelings about it.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I was a
Right.
little surprised that it sold out so fast, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'll buy Manny's helmet and wear it. I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. But no, I don't like the appearance of the helmet. It is spooky. And I don't get
Yeah.
spooky vibes from the Acolyte.
Yeah.
Right. It just felt like Batman, laughing Batman vibes. Like they just trying to put a creepy smile on a random helmet. Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
there's more to the helmet when we get to the secretive and the shadow big bad that we kind of
Oh,
saw
I got
at
so many.
the
I got so many.
at the end there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, what just happened? I rewinded. I was like, did I miss something? But okay.
Yeah.
So in episode 4, which is called Day, we're on Kofar, and May and Chimere are trying to find the Wookiee. And on Coruscant, Osha tells Jackie like, "Hey, I'm leaving because I don't need to be here anymore." And Soul meets with the council, and they are reviewing the whole May situation because it is very clear that Osha, isn't guilty and that May is alive. And so the council pretty much says, "Hey, we're pretty sure that May was trained by a Jedi based on what she has been able to accomplish so far." And so luckily, Soul runs into Osha and is like, "Hey, help me bring in May." And so they all go to Kofar, and they have Basil with them. And
That thing was so annoying. I hated that thing so much.
you didn't like Basil?
I did not. I hated that thing every single time it showed. I'm like, why this dude? Somebody need to kill him. I hated that thing.
Wow. I loved Basil. I'm not gonna say I loved him, but I liked Basil.
I didn't mind him at all. Really.
I liked that he was there.
I'm just upset that when I turn on the closed captioning, it did not tell me what Basil was saying.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it just said speaking whatever.
Yeah.
So, so they figure Basil is gonna find Kelneka. Cool. Osha begins to reconnect with the Force, and May is like, this thing that the Master's telling me to do, like, it's not possible. Like, we're talking about
Mm-hmm.
skilled Jedi here. Like, I can't kill them without weapons. And also, I don't even know if I want to at this point. Like, May or Osha's alive. So what reason do I even have to do this? Like, the whole reason I was trying to get revenge was because they killed my sister and my entire family. My sister's alive, and I know that. I laid eyes on her. So I don't even need to do this. I'm just going to turn myself into the Jedi because
Right.
why am I even doing this? And so Kymir gets trapped, and she's like, "All right, cool. My loyalty's to Osha. So that's where I'm going." Um Basil is able to find May, and May is able to find Kelneka, but Kelneka's already dead when she gets there. And so the Jedi arrive, assuming she did it, and she's like, "Hey, I know what this looks like, but I need you to believe me. I need you to trust me.
Right.
Like I didn't do that." And then who we don't know his name yet, but her master shows up right on time.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he showed up, that's when I had suspicions that it was Kymir.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say, "Oh, it's absolutely Kymir," but whenever he showed up, I was like, I wonder if it's Kymir, because I knew that Kymir was on the planet with her.
Right.
And so that was the only reason he crossed my mind, because I was thinking, like, is it somebody we've seen or is it somebody we haven't seen? And so my first guess was, oh, we haven't met him yet. But so in the back of my mind, I was like, I wonder
No,
if.
I had no idea. I was like, I don't even know who he is.
And again, the only reason I thought that was because, and Jordan, you will understand this, Toby and Obito.
Good point.
Like that's why it crossed my mind, was because I was like, I have seen that. I have seen somebody play dumb, play stupid, play, weak, like, the idiot, and actually be the guy.
Yeah.
And so that's why it crossed my mind, but I wasn't sure enough to like say it. I was like, I don't think it's somebody we've seen yet.
Were
And so
we? I don't know. I was a little. I don't want to say I was disappointed. I guess I was more hoping it was somebody new, somebody we hadn't seen, rather than the play dumb. We've seen him before, type of situation. But
so and again, the only reason, not even the only reason, I'd say the main reason that I thought, or that I didn't have Chimera as my number one, is just because I don't know Star Wars well enough. So
mm,
I thought they were gonna like reach in the bag and pull out somebody that Star Wars fans would be like, "Oh shit,"
yeah,
because as far as I know, Chimere's name had not come up. Like he wasn't.
no, not that I know of.
He was unimportant.
When Kelneka died, I was like, dang, who did it? Like I was still lost. I'm like, yo, he said
Right.
the master's here, but who did this killing? I was like, I don't know where he at. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in the next episode,
Oh, whoa. We didn't talk about how he pulled up all the Jedi pulled up.
the
Oh,
Jedi pulled up and said, "Hey, surrender," and that's
oh yeah, and he
when.
hit him with that blast, so that blast pretty good. Like he blasted him back.
Yeah.
And that's when, so that part right there is what got me back in the show. I was like, okay, cool looking bad dude, got me back in the show. The episode 5 dropped. I'm like, I'm good now. You got me back.
Good, good. I'm glad that the show was able to maintain your attention.
Yeah.
So in episode 5, Osha, wakes up, and the guy with the red lightsaber, who we don't know is Chimera yet, he's too much. He's out here
Dude.
working.
Beating the brakes off them little boys.
Yeah, like he's too much. Like they can't hang with him.
The saber into the kill and then pulling someone else into the kill. That was one of the better Jedi kills I've seen.
And again, I love the Force usage
Right.
because that's something that I've always like, why aren't they doing more of that?
Right.
And I guess it's because, the show has to happen. Because I always wondered, like, can Force users use the Force on each other, or would it just like cancel out, or would it not work, or like what's the deal there?
Yeah.
Because, and I assume that's why we didn't see very much of it, because I feel like the people that they did use the Force on were people who were weak or, not very good with the Force. Like whenever I think of Force usage, I think of Vader like choking out a random.
Yeah.
So
Christy, what'd you think about the fight between May and the other little hornhead girl? I don't remember her name.
Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie.
Rip. I love Jackie. I thought it was great. And I really loved it when, Chimera came in and she and Soul were battling it out. That I loved that fight.
Yeah.
But yeah,
will say-
the girls fighting, like them slamming each other into the ground and just dominating on both sides, that was pretty sweet too.
Yeah,
That
I like
whole
that fight.
episode, lots of good fighting in there. And
It was.
Chimera like throwing a saber against the trees and stuff. Have
That
y'all
was
seen
dope.
The Good Place? Like he's known for throwing Molotov cocktails in The Good Place, Manny Jacinto. And I'm just like, oh, there he is. Jason Mendoza is
When I s-
Molotov cocktailing it in Star Wars.
Yeah, when I saw that it was Jason, I was like, oh, okay. And gonna be honest, whenever it was looking like Soul and Chimera had a history, I said, please don't make that his son.
I thought it was gonna be his brother.
I said, please don't make them related because
Yeah. That would
no,
be
like,
problematic.
yeah, like Chimera is Filipino, and
Dude, there's no Filipino in the galaxy far, far away.
and Soul is not. So
Right.
I was like, please don't make them related. They're not.
I definitely thought they was gonna be like brothers or something.
I was hoping they weren't. I was worried they would, but
Right.
I was like, please don't do that.
Yeah.
And luckily, we didn't have to worry about it.
True.
So, cool. So he's too much, and Osha tries to, she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, let me help." She gets the blicky, and it does nothing.
Oh, that was
thing
so
is
good.
trash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. Is that the part where he Chimera counseled it out?
Yep.
When he got shot? Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I was like, "Up, well, there goes that plan."
Which I didn't understand how it counseled out though. Did he use the Force to counsel it?
I figured it was either the helmet or he's simply too much.
Well,
Yeah.
it was like a big circle by the time we got to it. So I was like,
But whenever anybody got hit with it, it was a circle.
Yeah, it's always a circle.
yeah, but it's like it started small, then it got bigger, and by the time it got to him, it was like the same size as his body. So then I thought, did he use the Force to counsel it?
Probably so. I did hear someone. I watched Star Wars thing. I guess like that gun wasn't as effective during these times, and then eventually down the road it becomes more effective. I don't know the timeline behind any of that, but
Just like a
because like when you
prototype,
get to
probably.
like when you get to like Rebels and stuff like that gun is pretty. You know, what I mean, if it hits anybody, like they're going down.
So it was a musket back then, and
Right.
they turned it
gunpowder.
into an AR-15.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's funny.
Jackie had a good little fight though against
Jackie was
Chimera,
working.
though. Yeah.
Like Jackie, I was like, okay, Soul got Jackie out here skilled.
Right.
Because everybody else that was there was fodder. They useless.
Yeah.
Just useless as hell. And so Jackie and May are fighting, and Jackie wins that, luckily. And then Chimere shows up, so May is able to escape. And then we see that May is trying to escape because the master is like, "Oh, you are disloyal,
Hmm.
and so you got to be handled because you've decided that what I gave you is impossible." And whenever he knew that she was disloyal, I was like, Chimera got that message real quick. I wonder. So that like led me to be like, maybe, perhaps. But
Yeah.
anyway, I wasn't there yet. But he's still working because he is still killing people. And so he kills Jackie and he kills Yord.
That was
Yeah,
tough. I wasn't
that-
expecting that.
I wouldn't
I
either.
I thought they were gonna make it past episode 5.
I'm just saying.
Like I knew Yord was gonna die, but I didn't think Jackie was gonna die.
I thought York was going to betray him, but nope.
Yord was useless throughout the series.
That's why he's dead.
Who do y'all think was more useless? What's the Indra or
Indara?
freaking Indara? Yeah, whatever. Indara or York? Because I thought Indara was gonna be cold.
So I will say, the advertising led us to believe that we were
Man,
gonna get some more of some people,
it's a pump fake right there.
and we did not. There
We
was
got a little bit
yes,
more than the first episode.
That was
yeah,
A little bit more.
pump faking to the core because a lot of people were like, "Ooh, she's in it."
yeah.
Oh snap! Like I'm tapping in.
When we saw Trinity, we were like, "Oh yes, I'm invested."
Right.
And to see her, not only was she barely in it, but also she did no work.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we'll talk about her here in a minute, but yeah, like for her to not only not be in it, but to not cook is quite disappointing.
Is that our expectations because she is Trinity?
Yes, and they set it up that way. Like
Yeah,
the
they did.
advertising
I
led
didn't see
us
it.
to believe that this was almost about her.
No, true. Like
She
the
was very
advertising
involved.
showed the first fight of episode 1, so you automatically thought, "Oh yeah, we getting that level for the rest of the season." You know what I mean? Which we did not.
Yeah. And so
Uh,
a little disappointed in
so
that.
with this,
And I also think they did the same thing with Jackie. Like they led us to believe that she was going to be a lot more important than she ended up being, I think just because of the quote unquote star power she had.
Yeah.
Because I
okay,
kept seeing that her name was floating around more than other names that were more relevant in the show.
Hmm.
so then, all right. So another Star Wars question. So at this point, are there Sith around, or is he like the first Sith? Because he mentions that he really wants a pupil, but the Jedi don't recognize him. Is he our first Sith that we know about? Does anybody know?
I don't know that we actually know about him because anybody who heard him say the word Sith died, right? So
Mm.
I think it's after this point before anybody hears Sith,
Yeah.
technically.
So the way I took that, or the way it hit my ear was Sith is a word that exists and is used to describe a very specific thing that in this time period doesn't really exist, or it's kind of like a myth. But Sith essentially means a force version of a sinner, is kind of what I took it to mean. Because he said to them, I am what you would call a Sith. And so
Yeah.
I'm led to believe that Sith is kind of one of those things that was taught to Padawans as like, oh, this is, the darkness that could come from
So,
this. You
so a
don't want to go
Sith
down
could
this
have
path.
existed before him, but we just don't have an example yet.
I
Potentially,
think,
yeah.
yeah, like either that or
He made it
either,
up.
yeah, either yes, the Sith is something that has happened and that's why they have a name for it, or that's just kind of what they called this imaginary thing that could happen.
Yeah. I think canon wise, at least on the screen canon, I think he's the first, but again, not
So
100% on that.
so basically he's basically I just realized like he's basically the opposite of Soul. Because like they both want a people, basically. Except Soul didn't go the dark route and Chimera did. Although Soul did, I guess, kind of betray the trust of the Jedi. So Soul could have went down the same path. Is that fair to say? Or
No, Soul is good.
he wants to be good. He thought, I guess he thought in his mind, I guess he
Yeah, he
probably
thought he
thought
did the right thing.
he thought he did the right thing.
Yeah, like he
I
was
think
just.
he needed some training.
But
He
Soul,
needed to
Yeah.
be trained up a little.
I think Soul never had impure intentions. I think that's kind of what I gathered was that, yeah, like based on his own moral compass, he was a good person. He may have done some not good things, but it was for the right reason. Like he didn't have darkness in him.
So
Right.
was the green girl that was Soul's master?
I don't know if that
Oh,
was his master or if she was just his commanding officer.
yeah, I want to say she was on the council, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So like
Because
he
okay,
reported to her, but I don't think she was like his direct master.
because he recognized Chimera, which he knows that that's her pupil.
Yes. And so
Right.
that's why I'm not sure what the situation is. Um, can hopefully somebody can answer this. Can a master have more than one Padawan? Like if they have a Padawan, that Padawan like graduates, do they just get another one? Like how does that work? Does one have more than one Padawan? Is that a thing?
You can. Didn't Obi-Wan have
I guess he had Anakin and then a no, he didn't
yeah.
have Ahsoka. Anakin had Ahsoka. I don't
I
know.
think there's supposed to be like a rule of one, but there can maybe be trainees that come along. They're just not as linked,
The
I don't
Padawan in
think.
training, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
because I mean Obi-Wan, I mean, I guess who's Luke's master? But yeah, like you can definitely have because some people, like you said, like some people just grow out of it. Some people grow up, become a don't need to be a Padawan anymore.
Oh, well, yeah, because I guess that makes sense because May was Soul's Padawan, and then she didn't become a Jedi, so then he went to go get Yord, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, wait, who's the little green hornhead girl? Who's her master?
So
The
uh,
Jackie.
yeah, I guess yeah, because uh Soul
Ocean.
had OSHA and Jackie. So I guess yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, so who's Yord master? I don't remember.
I don't
I don't think
know.
they said.
But I don't think it was Soul.
Yours doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All
He
right.
did.
Yep.
He's cannon fodder at that point. Yeah,
He's
you're
dead.
right.
And again, he had the haircut and
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I saw someone in real life recently with that.
it's a
I thought it was just video games and movies. I actually saw somebody in real life with it.
no, there are people who have it, and I think that's why they think all black people have it, because there are enough
Mm,
people with it.
circa
But there really aren't.
2018, maybe.
That's
Yeah, I
not
was I hadn't seen it in real life. That's the first time I ever seen it in real life.
because you know who has it? Darth David.
Oh, does he really?
He does. His are longer, but he does have it.
Does he swoop it over to the side too?
No,
Okay, okay.
his fall, but he he has the necessary hair for it.
Gotcha. Okay. I saw somebody who
Mm,
like they swooped it over to the side like a rooster.
But the thing is, he kind of doesn't have it because A, his is longer, but he was Killmonger for Halloween, so he had it for a reason.
yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But he was Killmonger for Halloween back before everybody was doing it,
Gotcha.
so he was ahead of the trend, and that's
Yeah.
why his are longer than a lot of the people who have it now because he's had it longer.
Gotcha. Shout out to Darth David.
Yes, I'm sure that he will have some answers for us for the questions we have.
Well, if
Yeah.
he don't, Larry sure will.
Yeah, Larry had things to say. And Larry's another person who saw episode 3 and was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like he saw episode 3 and was very unmotivated to finish the show.
I felt that.
Mm.
But anyway.
Yeah, back so episode we're on 6 now?
Yes. So well, no, we're still on 5 because there's a lot we haven't talked about in 5 yet.
Oh.
So Yord and Jackie are dead, and Soul is furious. And so Soul starts the good thing is Jackie was able to damage the helmet before she died. And so I think that's what forced us to realize that it was Chimera because he had to take it off.
Right. Yeah.
And this is also, I'm pretty sure this is the episode when we see that the helmet is turning off lightsabers, and like that's a problem.
Right.
And so when we see it's Chimera, it's like, oh shit, it's Chimera.
Yeah, I need somebody to explain that helmet because that was pretty dope.
My understanding is that it was made out of a material that naturally just defuses lightsabers temporarily.
And nobody used that in the future?
That's kind of what I'm wondering. Is like, so were the Jedi like, nah, we're not doing that shit? Like it was,
it got destroyed, whatever material that is. That's it.
Yeah,
We can't
like,
have that laying around.
Like how Superman is like, no, all the kryptonite needs to be gone.
Yeah.
All of it.
Right.
Batman, you too. And Batman and Lex are both like, no, I think I'm gonna keep mine.
Yeah, they kept one on reserve.
Yeah, Superman is like, we have to get all of it off of the planet. Like, we have to get rid of it. And so I would assume that if the Jedi discovered that, they were like, yeah, nah, we can't have that. We're gonna have to do something about that.
Anybody who saw that happen is dead.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And that was Chimera's whole point. He was like, you know my secret, so
yeah,
I'm gonna have to.
I just thought about that. Anybody who saw that helmet turn off lightsabers is dead right now.
Yes, yeah. Anybody who like saw it with their own eyes, dead.
Yeah, I'm gonna need them. See, that's the problem with doing prequel stuff because then you get stuff like this and you're like, wait a minute, why they didn't use that before?
Yeah,
so, yeah,
sure.
But hey, I gotta ignore it. I understand nerd stuff happens.
Yeah, the movie's gotta happen. The show's gotta happen.
Yeah, you're right.
And so we see that it's Chimera, and luckily, Soul was about to kill him. Soul was about to put him down because Soul's entire platoon is dead, and this man did it. And so Soul is like, I have to put him down. Like why wouldn't I? He killed everybody's dead. And Osha's like, no, you're better than that. Don't kill him.
Yeah.
Don't succumb to the dark side. And Soul is like, fine. And so Pip is used to, let
rest in peace.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
I have some questions about Pip, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the bugs come get him, and May uses the blicky to hit Soul, and that's when Osha and May can talk. And so May is like, hey, join me. And Osha's like, no, you have to answer for what you did because you killed our entire coven. And so she's like, well, not doing that. So she knocks Osha out with a force push. And she's like, I will deal with Chimera, or I will deal with Soul myself, because Soul is the reason that you feel this way. So I'm going to have to put my hands on him. And so Chimera obviously survives, and Osha is just unconscious out in the middle of nothing. So luckily Chimera survives, and he comes to get her. And May, disguised as Osha, goes and, hits it up with Soul. And Basil is kind of like,
oh, I got so annoyed with that.
Something's off.
I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a thing.
And I was like, good. Sniff that shit out.
Star Wars got to throw a what they consider cute.
Yeah, like a little animal.
Yeah, you gotta throw a Yoda, baby Yoda, a little. You know what I mean? They gotta throw one of them in there.
Yeah, for the kids.
I will say
For the
the one
kid.
episode, did y'all notice they kept showing those little bird looking things on like
Yeah,
I thought they was gonna do something. Like I thought they had some importance. They showed
but
them
they
three
do it all the time.
times.
I mean, that's normal Star Wars stuff.
Okay, I guess I didn't realize that.
Those are the new cute little things that the kids are gonna love.
Which is kind
Yeah.
of like what's that one? Which movie that had that little penguin
The
looking thing?
the porg.
Yeah, that okay, okay.
I
Chrissy,
love
don't tell me.
porg.
Of course
I
she
have
has
porg.
one. Of course she
Course.
has one. She's the reason why Star Wars continues. She's buying the merch.
I got that porg in Disney World. I
That's
went
what I'm
all
saying.
the way to Florida for that.
Bro,
Yeah.
they're gonna sell all this stuff down in Disney World.
Oh yeah.
And those
Galaxy's
little,
Edge.
they look like little elephants.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
like
little-
rocks
elephant
that are
bird.
elephants or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, clearly they're gonna have some importance. They showed it more than one time, and I was like, oh, I guess
Nah,
not.
they did,
Ma-
but they did. You're
maybe.
right. They did that with Ahsoka.
Yeah, maybe.
in the
but-
next season.
We'll see.
Yeah.
So in episode 6, we have for the second time, Osha wakes up after being knocked out. And when she wakes up this time, she's at Chimere's house. And of course, Chimere immediately knows that it's Osha and not May. Which is why she's not dead, I assume. Because Chimere had already decided, like, oh, you betrayed me, you're done.
Right.
And so over on the Jedi ship, Sol is trying to contact the council and let them know what's going on. And, of course, in a galaxy far, far away, there's, satellite problems and transmission issues.
They haven't fixed the issues yet. That's crazy.
Yeah, like landlines at this point, and it's a little like somebody got on the internet, and so the landline ain't working.
Right. Yeah, well, gotta dial up.
Yeah, exactly.
Young people don't know about that reference.
But those, we have some fans that understand exactly what just happened. And so they receive some of the mess. It's choppy, but they kind of get the gist. And so they're like, hey, the entire crew's dead. And Osha is, trying to sneak up on Chimere while he's, enjoying a soak. And he's basically like, are you going to do it or not? Like, you can get in here with me, though. There's always that option. But if you're not going to do that, if we're not going to get in this hot spring, then let me put on some clothes. Because
how old are they? How old is Osha in May?
They're adults. They're like low 20s, mid 20s.
Okay.
Because
I didn't know how they were supposed to be.
Well, they were artificially born. And with aliens, I don't know how that works in a galaxy far, far away.
In the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, like old enough to consent is my understanding of how old they are, because it was 16 years ago and they were 8-ish.
Oh, good point. I forgot it was like a big time jump. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I assume they were 8 whenever the ascension was supposed to happen, and they very specifically said it was 16 years ago.
I got a question for Christy. Okay, Christy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how handsome did you think Chimera is?
12.
Dang.
All right.
He got out that water, hair dripping. Now I was like, oh yeah, there it is right there.
I am a fan.
Go ahead and put it.
That makes sense.
Okay, but Jordan, what's your scale?
I mean, I give it to you. He definitely a solid 8. I give it to you. He's
That's
solid
right.
8.
That's right.
What was he missing for him to be a 10 for you?
Got to be a little darker skin. I'm usually into the darker.
I'm usually into is wild.
I didn't know if he'd fall for it.
That's
man.
Jordan. From you, I don't know if I'm like appalled or if I'm like, good for you.
Dr. Umar wouldn't be happy with me if I told him he was a 10. So,
That's true. Yeah, Dr. Umar would cancel your subscription to Jet Magazine.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause
funny,
I
man.
can't have. He would also cancel it for the fact that Kymir's like a man because
Yeah, I guess it's-
Dr.
Main
Umar's
point.
also homophobic.
Yeah, I forgot
You're
about that too. That too.
That's funny. I didn't know he was yoked as big as he
I
was.
didn't
You know what I
either.
mean?
Yeah, I didn't either.
Like
He
We
been
knew
working out.
we knew it from The
Yeah.
Good Place because in The Good Place he's like man candy. Like he's like that's
Got it.
his whole character in The Good Place is dumb hot guy.
Got it. Okay.
And so yeah, like whenever I saw him, I was like, okay, Jason,
Yeah.
because that's who he was in the.
So wait, the Good Place, that's not the same thing as that's not The Good Doctor, is it?
It's The Good Place, not The Good Doctor.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of Good Place. Yeah, I thought when you said it first time, I thought it was The Good Doctor with what's his name, but yeah,
It's on
What the
Netflix.
fork, Jordan?
I know. I don't know. Never seen it.
The Good Place is a sitcom that's worth your time. Like it's good. I enjoyed it. I had a great time watching it. But yeah. So yeah, I knew when I saw him like in the first two episodes and he was just Chimere. He wasn't like the Acolyte man yet.
Mhm.
I was like, oh shit. So I assumed he was more capable than he let on but also I was used to him playing the dumb guy. And
Gotcha.
so I wasn't sure if we were going to get any of that.
Mhm.
And there's not a lot of like people being, well, I don't know. There might be, I don't know. But anyway, um he's taking a bath and she's trying to like kill him and it's like no, stop. Just stop it. And so he's being like really nice to her and I'm sure she's confused as hell because she's like I don't understand what's happening. But
Right.
whatever. And that's when he starts explaining like the force there are a lot of ways it can be used and manipulated. And of course, the Jedi are going to tell you that there's only one way to do it. And he kind of starts going over his own heel turn, like how he got to where he is, and starts going over like I didn't subscribe to what the Jedi rhetoric is, and they don't like that.
Right.
Yeah, I will say if there is a season 2, like I want to see that story. Like I want to see what turned him.
Same.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's other people like that. Like Qui-Gon Jinn wasn't necessarily just super excited to do everything that he wasn't excited about all the rules and stuff that the Jedi had. But he still stayed a good guy.
And it sounds like Soul was kind of in that same boat. Like he didn't really like everything that was going on. Like he didn't want to fold into the political machine. But the way Vernestra, like that's a politician.
Who was Vanessa, the green
Yeah.
girl?
Yeah, the green bald one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like she was a politician up and down.
I will say, this is the trashiest version of Jedi to me. Like these are like you said, these are the politicians. These are we got to keep it away from the Senate because we don't want, what I mean? Whereas later on, obviously they're totally different. They're not as powerful as they are now.
I think
it's a little nicer to see Jedi kind of as the, not underdog, but like kind of just, some people say they're space cops, which I understand their reference. However, it is nicer to see them as kind of the underdog and not running the world like they are now.
So, bringing it back to Christianity, you know how back in the day, pretty much the Roman Catholic Church was the end all be all, like they were the law. I think that this is kind of like that. Like back in the day, they were it. They were the most powerful. They were the most high. Like they were in charge, and they weren't exactly doing it by the cleanest. Like they were playing a lot of political games. There was a lot of optics. Optics were super important. They had to maintain the facade. They were, doing backdoor deals, keeping secrets like that. There was a lot of that. And we see that in episode 8, uh, we'll get there when we get there. But I think that this speaks to the time period,
Yeah,
and
no.
it leans into the fact that once upon, like, this show wanted you to question the validity and good nature of the Jedi. Like, they wanted
Right.
you to be like, there's some gray in there. Like, I don't,
Hmm.
are they the good guys, or
I would say I was definitely, yeah, this one definitely made me question more, especially when, like you said, the other Senate dude was like, "Yo, I think the Jedi have too much power, and I'm about to try to bring them down." So I would say this is the point where I was like, "Are the Jedi the really good people?"
Yeah, and
Right.
I think that's what they wanted you to do. Like, that was the whole point of this show, was
Right.
to shine a light on that, because in the early days we just see good, evil. It's very, US Nazis. Like, there's no negotiating. Like, they are the bad guys. That's just what it is. They're evil. We have to get rid of them. We're the good guys. Like, hands down.
Yeah, we
That's
never really saw the Empire's point of view at all.
But yeah, like, now we're starting to see, like, is do I am I starting to, like, understand why the Empire is so anti-Jedi? Like, is that it? Am I seeing why they were like, no, we got to end that,
Right.
because they are a scourge on the galaxy. Because when I think about the Empire, I was like, the Empire was surprisingly organized whenever we see them,
Hmm.
like, later. And as many people as there were loyal to it, there were a lot of regular people that just had jobs, and they were just like, I mean, the Empire writes my checks. So
They
Palpatine's
get
name and
my check
signature on
on
there.
time every 2 weeks. I don't really
yeah,
care.
yeah, like, I mean, I just go to work. I just got my little factory job. I have a
Yeah.
pension.
I put spaceship parts on. Like I'm a good guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and so, yeah, I think that, and I don't know if this is true, but, like, just based on my own observation, um, if we take this out of the Christianity realm and look at it as the, political machine, then whenever you look at a situation where the United States is going against an enemy, then you're like, yes, we're the good guys, they're the bad guys, here are all the reasons why. Whenever the enemy is a lot smaller, or whenever you start to see things from the enemy's point of view, it's like, are are they the good guys? Like,
Yeah.
is that really? Because it really feels like I did nothing wrong, but because I'm not folding to their will, they have to get rid of me.
Mhm.
And, you know, that's a thing. Because anytime we see a country that doesn't subscribe to capitalism, the US is like, oh, we can't have any of that.
Yeah.
And so
So
if
whoa,
we
whoa,
see
whoa.
anybody using the force in a way that we don't subscribe to it, we can't have any of that. And also, the Senate, the council, they don't need to know about it, because, again, Vernestra was like, keep all of it very quiet
Right. Yeah. And then they start
and
questioning,
discreet.
yeah, are the Jedi, what are y'all doing over
Yeah,
here? Murder? You got Jedis killing Jedi? Like, you know,
yeah. What's the deal? And
yeah.
so, yeah, I will say these are the kind of things where I'm like, okay, Star Wars, all right. I see what you're cooking. I see
Yeah.
what you're doing there. You're calling attention to some things without saying it. Just kind of
That
like letting
this
us
is
see it.
also the stuff that's making people not like this show, though. I've never liked Jedis, so I'm like, cool, throw them under the bus.
That's
I don't
true. That
care.
is true.
So many people love Jedis. They love the Jedi story. And they're like, oh,
USA, USA,
No,
USA.
Christy's correct though. I mean, like, I know a lot of dudes who are like, Jedi are the good guy. Like, Jedi are cool. What are we doing? Like, Luke, like, you know what I mean? Like, Obi-Wan, what are we doing? Why are we trying to make these people bad guys? Which I get it. I mean, I get from their point of view, because it's like, yeah, I mean, at the grand scheme of things, Jedi are the good guy for the most part. Now, did they do things correctly? No. Do they take kids from their families? Yes. Do they do some other wild stuff? Absolutely. But for the most part, they're trying to make sure people have freedom. So I get it, but I also get how you can easily turn that around on its head and be like, all right, this is not good. So I get both.
I think it's good to show that they're flawed
Yeah,
because
for sure.
we see them on a pedestal so much, like, oh, they have power, they make all these decisions, look at all this authority.
Right.
But it's nice to see like the human nature and the kindness and the, oh, maybe I mess up from time to time
Right.
part of the story too, which I think
Mhm.
is what really went wrong here. Some good Jedi went into some bad circumstances.
That's true.
And then the system was like, no, we need to hide this.
Yeah, we can't have that get out.
You know, we can't.
I'm
that- can't know about
definitely
that.
invested in Vernestra's story, where I know she's in the High Republic books, so we can go and look at her story.
Oh, so she's an existing character already?
Yes.
Nice.
So I'm interested to see what's going to happen with her, because
See,
I mean
that show.
we'll see in the final episode when we get to it that
Right.
she's doing some things over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one I was like, wow, I did not see her doing that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I did. But we'll get there.
So then episode 7 is the flashback episode, right?
Yes, episode 7
Yeah.
is the redo of episode 3. Like, it's episode 3 from Soul's
From a
point of view,
predator's
pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Whoa. Whoa.
From
Yeah,
a
I'm talking
predator
about
point of
RIP,
view.
man. Chill out.
So, goodness, that's okay. Again, Osha is basically told, hey, there's more than one way to access the Force, and the Jedi don't want anybody to know that. And meanwhile, Soul and May are talking, and Soul is able to peep that that's not Osha. So he knocks her out. And I think that this is the point whenever Basil is definitely Basil like attacks her, and it fails miserably. But also she resets Pip.
Yeah, man, that's messed up, dude. He didn't
So-
even do nothing.
So question, when Pip got his reset, did that just mean like he was a blank slate that does what he's told, or is he now loyal to May as opposed to Osha? Like I think I'm a little confused as to what the factory reset did.
I think it made Pip loyal to May, because later on we see that Pip spews something at Osha.
Yeah.
And that's
Yep.
why that's what surprised me. But then I was like, oh yeah, the factory reset.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I didn't know how that worked. Like I didn't know if it's Pip literally just following orders, or if Pip's like I don't understand.
Kind of like a newborn baby bird. It saw like the first face and it was like, oh, that must be my mother. I'm just going to do whatever this one says.
See,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, and Tom and Jerry, whenever the little duck egg hatches and then sees
Yeah.
Tom, it's like, Mama. And Tom is like,
Not me.
not me.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's definitely how I took it.
cool.
Same.
That makes sense. Okay. Question answered. So the council arrives on Kofar and they need to investigate what happened. And that is when Chimere explains the helmet to Osha. And it's like, hey, why don't you try it on? See what you think about it.
10 out of 10. Did everybody know the breathing thing was going to happen? Like the Darth Vader like breathing thing. As soon as she put it on, I was like, they're going to do it. And then
That was so lame to me.
yeah, I agree.
It didn't even cross my mind. So
Yeah, I knew it was going to happen. That's one of the things.
I
just-
knew something would happen. I just didn't know what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was
figured the
kinda-
breathing thing was going to happen.
Yeah, it was extremely telegraphed. It was just like they've done this before, where they give something to somebody, and then there's like, oh my god, there's so much darkness in your heart. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, all right, we've seen
Yeah.
this 1,000 times.
And so whenever the Jedi arrive on Kofar, they're like, all right, obviously some very strong Jedi did some shit. Now, I remember in Ahsoka, we see that there's, I don't know if it's a power or if it's just like there for us, but we see that like somebody can stand in an area and kind of like close their eyes and visualize what took place.
Mm.
I don't know if that's a special skill or if that's just the studio showing us that they are figuring what happened. And so some of that happens.
It's a
And
Jedi thing. You could do it in a video game too.
okay,
That's true.
cool. It's a Jedi thing. So and I don't know if it's like they can see anything that happened or if it's like force usage specific or if, I don't know.
I feel like
Right.
it's only a certain thing for certain Jedi users. But yeah.
Okay. And the reason I wasn't sure is because Ahsoka uses it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she has it.
I think it had to be like on level 5 to get that one. Like that's like if you're level 3, you can't really get that ability, but when you go like level 5, like you unlock that one. So I
Okay,
feel like they unlocked it.
cool. And they're like, all right, somebody who was bad enough to do this did this. And somebody's like, well, Soul is strong enough. Was it him?
Right.
His name kind of gets just thrown up there. And they're kind of like, see, we're not gonna like just say no, but like probably not.
Mm.
And so, oh, she tries on the helmet. And then we get into the episode 3 from the Jedi point of view. And so we find out why the 4 of them are on Bryndock. And they mention that they are studying a vergence, which is just a giant force event. And I don't know if there was more explained than that, but I just took it
Not
as
really.
like a naturally occurring force extravaganza,
Kind of like seeing the Northern Lights, I guess.
maybe. Um, but they were like, yeah, that's what we're here to study. And the fact that it happened on a planet with no life on it means that we're just free to, look around and do what we want. And that's when Soul finds Osha and May whenever Osha ran away. And then, we see Mother Coral take them. And so he follows them back to their house. He's, looking around, seeing stuff. And he goes back to Indara and is like, those children are in danger because there's a witch cult that they belong to. And it's dark and dirty and sinful. And I don't like it. And so Indara's like, I need to see what the council wants to do because
Mm.
I don't I don't think that's our business. So
Uh, I want to hang on. I want to speed it up a little bit because I didn't understand when Soul killed the mother, but she was like turning into dust first, or like what was going on with her? I didn't.
so
Well,
my understanding of that was she was about to use her power, and Soul took that as a threat and killed her because of that.
But I wondered like what she was even about to do.
We'll never
I feel
know.
like it's a transportation thing.
Yeah, like I thought she was just gonna leave.
Yeah, I think like her daughter was in need and she was trying to get to her daughter and she might be able to like interact with her in that mode and maybe calm her. Like they can get into each other's heads and stuff. So that I figured it was something along those lines.
But
But
and then when
And
she turned into dust particles, he was able to stab her. I was like, what?
well, she hadn't fully dusted yet. Because Christy, to your point, I think the transportation thing made sense to me because Mother Coral did it later.
right.
And it looked like she just used it to go to somewhere else.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think that whenever she started doing that, Soul was like, "Oh shit," and like went into defense mode because with what happened to Torben, I can't be letting him do stuff. And again, Soul just assumed they were dangerous and watched Mother Anastasia take Torben's mind. And so
Yeah, that
I
was. I don't know. I feel like that was a weird,
I think that that
weird.
was
The whole thing.
I think that that spoke to Soul's youth and inexperience at the time.
I just feel like it could have been executed better because it felt not random, but it felt like, wait, what? Like, and then the way
Like
he did it, stabbing a goat, like the wind almost. It was just like, all right, this
They
is
were
kind of
saying
weird.
like she's like particles, and he was just like stab. I was like, whoa,
Yeah, like
okay.
there, I feel like there could have been a better way to show that he was kind of trigger happy and kind of antsy. Like I feel like there was just a better way to do that.
I think they would have had to change her power then because if he would have just swiped at the dust, it would have like cut her in half. And so
True.
it needed
I
to
just feel like
happen. It needed to happen in a way where she was still able to talk because she
Yeah,
had to
she told
tell
him
him,
like I was gonna let her go.
"Yeah, I was going to let her go. What have you done?" You know, like they had to have that conversation. And so I don't
maybe.
know. I don't know the better way to do that
I
in
feel
that
like
situation.
the fact that we all think it's something different or possibly means something different. If she was transported, that means all right. Like some stuff, yeah, you want an interpretation, but some stuff should be okay.
That should be
Like
more
I see,
clear.
yeah, it should be a little more transparent to like, oh, he did it because of. I might not agree, but he did it because of this, and it's like this is gonna be like I don't know. Was she leaving? Was she scared about the kids being in danger or something? I don't
I feel like maybe in season 2, because it's gonna come, we're gonna see May and Osha use that power and maybe come together as one.
Like be one individual.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to
It's a
do a
theory
fusion?
that I have.
I sure
Yeah.
hope so for acting purposes. Okay,
Oh my gosh.
go
You know,
ahead
you're trying to
and
have her be two people.
yeah, that's a hey, no offense to her, no respect. She's great, but to have a actor who I already was a little suspect about play two different yeah, I'm gonna need you to
See, and again, I think that at the beginning she did a pretty good job of differentiating the two of them. But once they started to blur, I think that's when it got a little less clear, just because they were switching roles. Because whenever May was very like angry and staunch, and Osha was just, you know, making her way downtown, it that
make it
felt that felt more organic than whenever those lines got blurry and whenever they were switching and, you know, to me anyway. So like
yeah,
their interactions with each other weren't acted super well, but also she was talking to herself because she was one actress. So I get
right.
it. Um,
Tough spot. Tough
yeah,
thing to pull off.
exactly. And so I'm not mad about it. Could it have been better overall? Yeah, but like I didn't hate it and I wouldn't have fired her. But um anyway. Uh so they pull up and they're like, "Hey, we know there are children here. We have the right to demand that you let them take the Jedi test." And this is when we see what Mother Anastasia actually does to Torben, because
Hmm.
Torben makes it very clear, like, I don't want to be here. I'm trying to go home.
Yeah.
And Mother Anastasia's like, say it. Tell me what you
Hmm.
want. And he's like, I just want to go home. And then he folds.
Yeah.
And she's like, I got your boy. So you can leave and I can let him go, or he can die today. It's up to
Hmm.
you. And again, I think that that is why Soul was like, nah, she can't. No, I can't just let her like do stuff
Right.
because she's misusing the Force and she's very good at it.
She was good. She was
So
good.
yeah, I can't do that. Like he again, he felt threatened. And so during May's trial, that's when he starts asking questions to figure out like what the deal is with them. So, or he and Indara are asking questions to be like, tell us a little bit more about your cult. And, she's a child, so she starts just talking because that's what you do.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to be there anyway, so she was like, yeah, here's the deal. We were going to ascend and become, better and all that. And she was explaining it to them. And then OSHA comes in, and the way that Indara was handling it, Indara's also like ready to go home. Like she's like, I don't even know why we're doing this. They're 8. That's too old. They're not babies. We can't do this. And
Mhm.
so, Soul is like, let me handle the next one because you're a little aggressive. And then, that goes well. And that's when they learned that the twins were created artificially. And Torben is like, oh, that's our ticket out of here. We
Mhm.
needed proof of the virgins. That's what they are. I'm going to get them so that we can go the fuck home. And
Yeah.
so, of course, they chase him and he gets in there. And they're like, hey, I'm here for the girls. And you're not going to take my mind this time because I'm fortified. And that's when, before that, Coral says to May, hey, they're going to take your sister away. Get mad, get angry, do
Yeah.
something. And it's like,
Did he kill
because
what's her
Mother,
name yet?
no, not yet. So,
Okay.
because Mother Anastasia had talked to OSHA, at least I'm pretty sure that's what I'm remembering. And OSHA like was honest with her and told her like, hey, this is what I want to do. And Mother Anastasia was like, I don't like it, but okay. And that's when, they show up. And I think that at this point, the fire had started. And Mother Anastasia hears her children calling for her. And so that's when she was about to,
Go to
go.
work.
And Soul kills her.
Isn't
And
that work?
yeah, she was like, I was going to let her go. But whatever
That
happens,
was
happens now.
so weird to me. But
And so,
um
and so the coven is like, all right, it's war games.
yeah. I feel
And
like I don't know. I feel like this is one of the weaker episodes for me personally. Like it was kind of a lot of like I don't know. They were trying to like plug holes in the plot, and I guess they were trying to. It was a good way to like try to explain things from a different point of view, but it just the decision making was like, all right, this seems kind of erratic. Like we're just kind of we're killing people just erratically. We're kind of I don't know, but episode 8 kind of did a little better with that.
I think that people being killed erratically was the point of episode 7. Like in my mind, uh again, Soul's youth and inexperience was on display here. And I think that that was the point of the episode. But and it was chaotic because again, like May set a fire that destroyed the whole town.
Can we
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
I would say let's go to episode 8 because I got a lot of questions and
Jordan,
I
wait,
I'm
we
like
have not talked about the biggest part of episode 7.
okay, what was the biggest part of 7?
Everybody wanted to see a Wookiee handle a lightsaber.
Oh, is this first time this ever happened?
Technically, yeah, really in live action, yes.
And I was going to
Oh,
yeah, like I was gonna say, once Mother Anastasia dies, the coven takes over Kelneka, and they're like, "All right, y'all got to fight him." And whenever Torben got knocked out, how? Like during that fight, Torben just randomly gets knocked out, but he didn't like. Kelneka was like holding him up and then like tossed him aside because Soul came over, and then he's just unconscious. It's like, what?
Right.
Soul should
But
have cut his hand off. I would just cut his hand off.
well, they wanted to make like they had to free him as opposed to like maiming him.
Did they even know if they can do that?
Well, Torben got free.
I guess that's true. But she
So
let him go.
yeah, and so it's possible. It can happen. And so Indara just kind of comes in and just jumps on him, and then he's free. And
Taking out the whole coven with her.
again, I wanted to see Indara cook. I wanted to see Indara get some minutes, and nope. So cool, whatever, that's fine.
I mean, I feel like the fact that she just wiped out like a whole powerful coven of witches with her mind, pretty cool. It's not the action we want to see,
Mm.
but I think
Yeah.
it speaks to her strengths.
Like how powerful she was. She was able to take down
Yeah.
the whole coven. Yeah.
And yet May kind of pretty easily took care of him.
Those little daggers. I'm telling you.
Yeah, like wasn't really that hard for her to do that. But okay, whatever, that's cool. She's strong without, using her hands. Got it. Then we see that May and Osha are like, about to fall, and Soul is just really trying to save them both, and he makes an executive decision.
Wait. Indara killed somebody without using a weapon. Isn't that one of the reasons why May went bad? Like, it's like her final thing.
So maybe I misunderstood that, but I thought that Indara just kind of like freed Kelneka from the witches. I didn't realize Indara killed all of them when she got in there.
Yeah, she killed all of them without using a weapon.
I thought that they all died from like the subsequent, fire and destruction and all that. I didn't think that Indara was the one who killed.
Soon as she broke the connection, they all died.
Okay, I thought they all just like, oh no, and I didn't realize they died. So
I didn't. I don't know either. No.
They died. I mean, they hunched. They was down for the count.
Yeah, I thought they were just kind of like, knocked out. I didn't know they died from that.
I'm calling dead. I'm with Jordan. on
I'm like,
this.
they look pretty dead to me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that if Indara then yeah. Indara's skilled.
Yeah.
If she was able to kill them long distance through somebody else's mind, that's impressive.
She seems like she should be dark. But anyway, all right. You're back on 8 now.
Not yet. Like I said,
shoot.
Soul sees that May and Osha are about to like fall to their death, and he's holding them both up. He can't do it, and so he drops May and saves Osha. And again, that is I think that is also supposed to speak to Soul not being the perfect Jedi that we expected him to be and that he was presented as.
Hang on. Now, I don't understand this. So he was holding up both of those railings, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all understood that, right? The railings are heavy, right? Could he have not just held up both of them?
Yes. Technically, he absolutely could have, because earlier in the show, whenever Osha like falls backwards off a cliff, he just catches her and then pulls her back up. So yes, he could have gently lifted them both up and just brought them over here.
That was later, though. He had honed his skills.
But if you think about it, though,
That's
I'm
true.
sure that stuff is probably over 200 pounds. These girls were probably 90 max. He could have easily saved May by grabbing her hand, or whichever one he grabbed, by grabbing the hand and used the force to get the other one.
Yes. there's always why didn't they just, because the show
Use the
had to
force.
happen.
Yeah,
Right.
you're right. But it's one of those moments, just like I do with all the other stuff we watch. That was the one that took me out for a second. Then I had to get back in. I was like, why didn't you do that? Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we know why, because he didn't give a fuck about May.
Yeah.
May,
Because he was
May wasn't why he was there.
predatory with OSHA.
Okay.
Right.
So in episode 8, OSHA is wearing the helmet and sees into the future and says, "Oh no, May is going to kill Soul without a weapon." And Kymir's like, "Oh, the prophecy." And so May attacks Soul and escapes on the little escape ship. And, they chase each other, or Soul chases May, and May's like, "Yeah, let me get between these rings. He won't be able to get me here." And then he just goes in there.
Yeah.
Soul spends this entire show chasing people. So yeah, they both end up on Brindock. And over on Coruscant, the Senate man comes in. And he's like, I have a problem with the Jedi. Uh, they're a little too powerful. There's some corruption going on. I heard that you were doing secret shit, and
Martian Manhunter.
yeah, they got yeah, I Hank. That's who he was in
Yeah.
Supergirl. Yeah, I got Hank in there, and yeah, he was like, "No, something's fishy, and I don't like it." And Vernestra's just like, "You know what? Okay."
Well, we got to talk about Squidward. We got to talk about it because when they're on the other planet and Squidward's just in the thing hiding, who was that? I can't hold
So
it in anymore.
okay, uh, I haven't the slightest clue who that was.
This Christy Brandon, you guys know?
I think it's
Are you talking about the shadow in the cave?
Yeah.
That's Darth Plagueis.
yes.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. As many times we heard his name, I didn't realize that's who that was. Okay. So they just threw him in there for like quick, like 2 seconds for fans, or
Probably, but also it's chiseling the way to maybe the Virgins and the importance of it and how Anakin came to be.
Right.
Because the Plagueis stuff plays a lot into the future of Anakin.
Facts.
oh, I didn't know any of this. No, I don't even know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, Plagueis is like, I feel like he's one of the most beloved, like, super deep cut characters ever. Like, is one person I know at work that like loves Darth Plagueis, and I used to be like, "Who the hell is that?" But like, and then I heard more about him. I was like, "Oh, these people like really love Plagueis." You know what I mean? So, no, that was a cool little shot.
So wait,
Cool little Easter egg.
he's a Darth? Like he's a bad guy? I mean, I know he's a bad guy. He looked bad,
Yeah,
but
of course he's that guy.
okay.
Yeah,
So okay, I guess he's just chilling in that planet, just watching.
yeah.
Okay.
I guess we'll learn more season 2 if it happens.
I mean, I feel like they're not gonna get a season 2.
They
They,
probably
There
will.
will be a
I'd say they
season
should.
2.
It's
I,
gonna be
I
rough.
don't know.
I
They
know they're
will.
not wrong.
I mean, if they don't get a season 2, then they will just throw some of this into a different show. Like
Okay.
they'll just sprinkle some of this context and some of these points into whatever
I
the
just
next show
don't
is
know
going to
if
be.
I don't know if you. Well, if it's a brand new show, who knows? But this time period isn't really anywhere else in the Star Wars universe right now, so it kind of would be hard to fit it in anywhere.
However, you just said that there are a lot of people who love Darth Plagueis, and if Darth Plagueis exists in this time,
True,
and we pivot to like seeing what he's doing, then I think that he will generate some interest.
true. I will say he's not a casual. Like if you ask your casual Star Wars, have no clue who he is. But if you ask like a deep cut, yeah, they know who he is.
He
Okay.
looked like oh boy from the Blackwater with Thanos now.
Oh
That's why
yeah, the
that's
no
why you said
nose.
Squidward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's who that reminded me of. But okay,
Yeah.
I had no idea. Like I said, I rewinded it and I was like, am I supposed to know him? Like I didn't know who that was. That's
Yeah.
what I should look up.
I'm not fan enough to have known that was because I've heard the name Darth Plagueis, but I've never seen him. I would not have been able to pull him out of a lineup. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Continue.
But I will say, my boy from the Senate was spitting. He was spitting.
yeah,
He
Oh
was
yeah, I
like,
agree.
You're a little too secretive. You got too much power.
yeah,
You out here investigating, murdering
yeah.
Jedi's who are murderers
Yeah, he said
without
I
my
heard a
permission.
bunch of people died, and you didn't
Yeah.
want to tell nobody.
Right.
And she was like, I didn't want to bring it up if it wasn't a big deal. And he was like, "What? I think it's a big deal."
Yeah. Multiple people died. Right. Yeah.
So yeah. So eventually, Tymir and Soul find each other, and so they just start fighting.
Yeah.
And then Osha and May come face to face, and Osha's like, "Hey, I hate you, and you're the reason that I couldn't become a Jedi because I couldn't get my negative emotions in check because you killed our entire coven, and
Yeah.
I have hated you ever since. And because I couldn't get that shit together, couldn't become a Jedi." And May is like, "No, I did not do that. Soul killed our mother and blamed me. Ask him yourself." And so she's like, "You're a liar." And then they have what's probably the worst fight in the show.
That whole scene was garbage to me.
Yeah, it was a little rough.
I hate to agree with Brandon because he's like totally against the show, but yeah, the acting there, the fighting there,
Not
It
great.
not
was
great.
ass. And I was just like, you hate me. I was just like, oh man, this. I mean, it's tough on the actor too. I get it, but I mean, that's Star Wars' fault. But
Yeah. I will say
yeah,
I did notice that all of a sudden, uh, I mean, of course, there's a reason for it, but I noticed that May was wearing white clothes and Osha was wearing dark clothes, and we know what
yeah,
that.
right.
So that kind of foreshadowed the heel turn.
It's
Yeah.
facts.
I noticed that too, yeah.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say like Osha looks like a Sith right now.
Yeah, she really did.
So yeah, like they start fighting and it's trash. And then the Jedi arrive and May is, like May finds Soul and disarms him. And, you know, Kymir's like, "All right, fulfill the prophecy." And May's like, "No, I want him to stand trial for what he's done."
Right.
And Osha's and you see May see Osha. And so
Yeah.
that's why she's like, "And you killed my mother, right? Didn't
Right.
you? Didn't you?" And Soul is like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, so that force sense only kind of sometimes works a little bit because you should have known she was behind you. But all right." And so is that true? He admits it.
That's when I knew
And
the force choke was coming. I was like, yeah, that's what's
yeah.
gonna happen.
I guess I didn't realize that the Force was quote unquote without a weapon, but uh, yeah. Whenever she basically said, "Shut the fuck up,"
Yeah.
and he kept talking, and she said, "I said, shut the fuck up," and so I didn't think that it was a Force choke. I thought that it was like a taking over the mind because she, comes from the witches that can like get in there.
Mhm.
So initially, that's what I thought she was doing. I thought, how in Lisa Al Gaib is a speaker and he can say some shit and that's just what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I thought that's what she did. Or
Nah,
something
man.
to
Yeah.
that effect.
You know,
But
Star
then
Wars like a good old force choke.
when I saw that he was like when I saw him choking, I was like, "Oh, she's just force choking him." Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Without her hands though, because normally they put a hand up. Like Darth Vader always puts a hand up. She was just doing it.
Right.
Now I
And
will say
Yeah.
that was cool. That was really cool to see the Kyber crystal go red.
yes, I've never
That's
seen
that's
that.
part of the season.
I've never actually watched it happen, and so
I don't think we've ever seen it.
I don't know if
honestly.
it has. But yeah, to like watch the heel turn, I was
Yeah,
like, okay, I fucks with that. But again, we
right.
saw it coming because of the like clothing. So we knew there
Yeah,
was going to be a heel turn. But yeah, whenever she picked up the lightsaber and that thing like it slowly corrupted, but it absolutely
yeah,
did. Because
that was
I
fire.
I thought that she like disabled the lightsaber. I thought she broke it. It wasn't going to be usable anymore. But nah, she because I thought that I guess the crystal had to be corrupted before it got imbued into the. I don't know. I think I just made some extra rules up in my head, but yeah. Anyway, um,
Now, I will say this part, when we talked about how the Jedi can basically go to a scene of a crime and like replay it, I had a question here. It's like, how far can they go back? Because old Green had pulled up and she was able to see like basically the whole entire history of OSHA and May burning down everything. I was like, can they really reach that far back to know? I thought the scene of the crime had to be kind of fresh.
It might depend on the severity of what occurred.
Like it was real traumatic.
If it sticks, you
Hmm.
know.
Okay. Okay.
I I thought, and again, this may just be bullshit that I made up in my own mind, but I thought that they were essentially tapping into the Force, and because the Force is always and forever, like there was Force usage, and so that's what they are replaying. So they're like tapping into the Force to watch Force shit from the past, was what
Well,
I
I would say, well, I've never seen them use it this far back. Like it's always been kind of fresh every time. Even in the video game, like it would be not that far back. Like this is like that was 16 years ago. So it's
Well,
like I
this
guess that's
is
still there.
you have to get to level 7 to go that
Yeah.
far back,
Yeah,
Jordan.
so I
You
didn't
got
even
to
think
unlock
about
the
this.
skill tree. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
You're right.
obviously, yeah, Vernestra is a high level.
Yeah. She
Right.
put more
And
points in the intelligence.
also, she immediately knew Kymir was around.
Yeah, she felt it.
So, like, her force sensitivity's got to be pretty high because it feels like everybody's not able to do that.
Yeah,
Because not only was she said she was able to know that it was him, and she was like, this way. Like
right.
Yeah.
she knew. And
He
so,
also knew, and he was like, "Oh shit."
yeah,
Right.
it's
Get out of
like,
here.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
uh-oh.
Oh, that's why he did. Okay. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about that. Okay. That's a
Yeah,
good point.
they clocked each other.
Yeah, he's like, if they can find me, they can find you.
Yes,
Yeah.
which makes sense. And so, yeah, we see her heel turn, and then eventually they are like, "Hey, I love you, and I love you too." And then they do their whole little chant thing, and then that's when Chimera's like, "Hey, if I found you, they can find you. So we need to do something."
Did the
And
Men in Black thing, erase the memory.
so they now help me understand this. Why did the deal have to be OSHA goes with Chimere and May stays behind? I'm confused because Chimere doesn't follow Jedi rules, so why can't we all go? Why does May have to stay behind? Well, I don't understand.
I, I'll be honest, didn't get it either because it was kind of an agreed upon deal, like super fast.
Yeah, like OSHA was just like, I will submit and go train with you. And
If you leave her alone or something like that.
yeah, if you just let her go. And I'm like, oh, why aren't we all going? I don't understand. I'm confused by
It's
that.
probably because he broke her trust. She broke his trust.
He was gonna kill her. Something.
Well, like, cause like he at this point, like she broke his trust, so he probably can't trust her now. Cause like remember she was gonna turn herself in, tell everything. So he's probably like, I can't trust you. You might do it again in the future. Let me give it a try with May.
And if they're doing their sister thing, she might try to take her away, and
Right.
Yeah. Sister,
so
sister.
it
I like
had to be the acolyte that
Yeah.
went with them.
Which, yeah, I guess so. Is that what we were supposed to get out of that? Is OSHA is the acolyte because she was able to commit a murder without a weapon.
That's my assumption.
I don't even know
But
what an
I
acolyte
could
is.
be, they can prove me wrong in season 2.
I
I
mean,
don't know
they
if we're
might not
getting
because that season 2 might not be there. I don't even know what an acolyite is still.
Yeah, that's why, because this
Fact-
episode is called The Acolyte.
the fact that we don't know
It's not a good
should
sign.
tell you a lot.
Because I
And
thought
I'll
he
be
called
honest.
himself the acolyte.
Well, and that's
No.
we were led to believe that he. And so is there just one The Acolyte, or like can there be acolytes?
I think
Mm.
it can be more than one. I think Acolyte was supposed to be like a symbol of changing of the guard
I don't know if
or like a
acolyte
darkness
was
coming.
I don't even know what the
Lisa
word
that
acolyte
guy.
mean. Let me just look it up now.
Now I will say,
Get on Wikipedia, Jordan.
that's
Tell
what
us
I'm
what
about
it
to do.
says.
yeah, I will say I was highly disappointed in the finale just because I thought at the end with all the Jedi converging on them, I was like, oh, they about to get busy. Like, oh, okay, like the two like Siths essentially are about to get busy and then escape. And like we see a one final action scene. Of course, they did escape. No real drama other than we hear about them blaming Soul, throwing him under the bus, and then we can
Which
talk about the
yeah, we should talk about that. So yeah, Vernestra again, like a true politician.
Yeah.
Like when I saw her playing games throughout the movie, I will say I thought that her, you know, not necessarily allegiance, but like her, um, the fact that she liked Soul so much and felt that he was very important to the whole operation led me to believe that she wasn't going to do, that she wasn't going to just throw him under the bus. But whenever she was like, "I'm so sorry," I was like, "Oh, he's about to take all that blame."
right.
It's easy to blame it on the dead homies.
Yeah, like and so yeah, she was like, yeah, this entire thing was committed by one rogue actor, who died on his way yeah, he did all of it. Um, and I was like, oh, ooh,
It's
yeah, that's
rough.
politics.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
also,
she played the game,
the word acolyte just means an assistant or a follower. So,
so not
We need
helpful.
yeah.
a Star Wars definition.
No, that was the Oxford Language Dictionary. A person assisting the celebrant or in a religious service or percussion, and an assistant or a follower. So,
Makes me think it's OSHA.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's a follower.
Okay.
We got surprised at the Yoda thing at the end. I was wondering when he would show up, if he would show up.
Garbage.
He's
I-
so old. Like there was a good chance that if we were gonna see anybody,
Yeah,
it was
It
gonna
had
be
to be.
Yoda.
I
Yeah.
thought that Yoda would have some lines. Like I thought that there was going to be like a high council meeting and Yoda was there. That's what I assumed would happen. Would be like before a like before the Senate or the High Council or whatever it's called, Yoda would be in the room. I didn't think and I thought he would like speak on some stuff. But yeah, I guess
Yeah.
not.
it'd have been
'Cause-
funny if they would have made him look like the little crackhead puppet, like in the originals. Like he looked like that super weird puppet. That would have been kind of funny they would use that. But we're past that point.
First of all, don't ever disrespect Yoda like that again. Yeah, puppet. What are you talking about?
But also, Soul explains to Ocean May that they are the same person
Oh yeah, I forgot
before
about that. Yeah,
they die. And so that's another like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, y'all aren't twins, y'all are one. Okay? What does that mean?
Convergence, I guess. Like they
But
were.
I mean, in the context of the show and like what
yeah.
that's gonna,
We never got that explained,
yeah, like I
and it
don't know.
sucks because we're not going to get a season 2 to even know what that means.
You guys are so rude. No, we get Plagueis and we get Yoda in the
It's
very
set up for
end.
season 2.
It's just enough to leave you wanting more.
I think
Yeah,
it's
they're gonna leave us wanting more too.
I think it's a wrap on this one. I think you first of all, I mean ratings were trash. We knew this was it could have been great and it was gonna get rating bombs. Like we get
Oh
that.
yeah.
But also this show was supposed to be for not for the casuals, but it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of lightsabers. Probably the most lightsabers in total we've seen in a show at all in general. And it
And
still didn't do well.
I
You
think
know?
it was also kind of for the casuals because it didn't really involve people
Right.
that we
Yeah.
know. Like it was a bunch of
Exactly.
new characters from the past, so you don't have to have a
Not
bunch
too
of
much.
knowledge to jump into this.
Right.
So, yeah. But May gets her memory wiped, and then, she's taken to the Jedi, and Vanessa's like, "What do you remember?" And she was like, "I remember pretty much being 8 years old." And Vanessa was like, "Wow. So you don't remember a damn thing." Okay. Well, does this name mean anything to you? No? Cool. Not sure how it doesn't, since you have memories from when you were 8
That's
and
when I got confused there too.
you still had a sister, but all right.
Maybe they were just born at the age 8.
Well, I'm guessing that I'm guessing that the mind wipe was very specific and intentional. So he didn't just wipe away like blocks of time. He wiped away the memory of OSHA specifically.
Oh, I put a Doctor Strange and Peter Parker.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brandon and I pretty recently reviewed a movie, Constantine City of Demons. And in that movie, kind of a similar thing happens. Constantine has to erase the love that people have for other people, and so they have no memory of those people, but they're able to maintain their memories of like everything else. And so I think that that's kind of what Kymir had to do, what he did. And I guess I didn't realize that the Force could do that. I assumed that like wiping memories was just like a part of the package, but yeah, I didn't know that you could like target specifics in that way. So
Which
Kymir's
is
skilled.
yeah. It's so general to where they kind of give you know, shove different powers into the force.
Yeah,
Um
the Force kind of does what it wants. And
but
again, the fact that the Force can be used on other Force people,
yeah.
because if May was created using a basically pure force energy thing, like she wasn't born, she was made through the force itself, then being able to use the force on her in that way is surprising because it would feel like she'd be too much for that. But also, she was still in training, so
Yeah, she's inexperienced. Um so I guess overall, what did we
That's what I was gonna say. What do y'all
with
rate it?
our
Christy.
we didn't even rate it at the beginning, but
Yeah.
Well,
So
we usually do that with movies, but
no,
this is,
we got TV shows too. I got it all pulled up too.
I mean, I didn't know we did like an initial.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah.
okay, Christy.
Yeah. What do you give it? Skeleton. What are you giving the show, Christy? And this is going down in our history book, so just no pressure or anything.
I I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah. Brandon.
golly, why I'm right next to Chrissy's score, so it sounds way worse than it should be. Uh I'll give this a 5.
Okay,
That's not too bad, honestly.
Yeah.
Jordan.
I'll give it a 6.5,
I will also give it a 6.5.
which looking back at our Ahsoka review, completely different show. I gave it an 8.5. Brandon gave it an 8, and Spencer gave it an 8. David gave it a 9, and Larry gave it an 8.5. So
Nice.
not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah.
But Ahsoka's better. We established that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
That's facts.
But
That is facts.
yeah. So, again, not the worst show I've seen, but not the best show I've seen. I did have notes.
Yeah, Star Wars. I used to be like, man, people hating on this. People like Disney ruined Star Wars. I'm like, dude, you're being over dramatic. Like you're being weird. This doesn't help. But
Yeah.
but I still think that's for the overall. Disney's done some great stuff for Star Wars.
Okay. So, it sounds like y'all don't, Christy is, confident, but y'all don't think there's going to be a season 2.
Nah.
I just
No.
don't see there being a yearning for these characters. Like I don't see people being like, "Yo, the May tribe," the Osha tribe. You know what
I
I'm
think
saying? Like,
if we are comparing to like The Mandalorian, absolutely not.
right?
Like
Like,
if that's the kind of reception they were expecting, then it's not looking good.
We still haven't heard anything about Ahsoka season 2.
that's true.
If
That's
an
gonna be a
Andor
movie.
season 2 comes by, yeah, sure. Well, it's like either way, we haven't even heard nothing about that. Mandalorian, we heard season 2, boom, quick. Season 3, boom, quick. So,
It's true.
but anything else?
See,
Not
I
that
have
I
a
have.
quick question for Brandon.
ooh,
Since
okay.
since you didn't love the acting in the Acolyte, which do you think is worse, the May Osha acting or
hmm
the prequel's Anakin
Oh
acting?
God,
Ooh,
that's easy.
you know, I don't know. I feel like people critique Anakin's acting a little too much. Like I feel like that the writing was not good. Like they set him up for failure. Like they made him be a way too. I don't know. And he was younger. I don't know. It's a solid comparison. I will say, in this, I just think this one's worse. Personally, I struggled with this one. This one, every scene, I was literally like, where she had to show emotion. I was just like, golly, this is rough.
If we're talking about episodes 2 and 3, then I think this is worse. If we're talking about episode 2 alone, that is easily the worst acting in the Star Wars canon.
It's very cringe. You cannot take it.
Which one is movie 2?
Um, not Phantom Menace.
Clones is in the name, right? It's
Attack
got
of the
something to do with
Clones.
clones. Yeah,
I gotta see which one that one is.
I don't
I
know.
may be off on that one.
I just know them by number.
Yeah, I
But
forget to say the name now.
but
But
yeah, 2 is
Revenge of the
it's
Sith is 3.
so bad.
Yeah, it is bad, but he makes up with it in other areas where I don't feel like her acting in general is good.
And I thought her acting early was good, and it just got bad late, in my opinion, anyway. Like I think that first few episodes, like she was doing very well, not only with acting but making both characters very different. Um, but then yeah, like later, no.
I don't know. That's a good question though. That's a solid question. However, I would say May. Oh shit, rough, rough, rough day at the office. You know what I mean,
Worse than Anakin in episode 2 is wild.
it is to me. That is
That's
cringe. So I agree.
and that's probably a good question to ask in the Facebook group too.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
that's assuming anybody believes her acting wasn't good.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Because again, there were some bad line reads, there were some bad moments, but I thought that overall it ended up being, all right. Like not bad. Anakin's acting
Like
in episode 2 was bad.
The internet is usually not right. That's usually not a source I rely on. However, I am not the only person to point out his acting issues.
Was it
Okay.
just her, or is there anybody else you want to point to?
Just her. Like the soul's good. I thought everybody else was good.
Okay, because Chimere did have a couple of like lackluster line reads,
Mm.
but I think that Chimere's character was not
Yeah,
very emotional anyway.
that's kind of what I took it as, like the brooding, try to be cool Sith guy. You know what I mean?
Batman.
But I feel like he should have had, there were some moments where he should have had a little more rage, and he did not. He
Yeah.
was, kind of just that the entire time.
His acting taking off the helmet was the only part I was like, when she was going through the darkness, she had the helmet on. That was the only part that was kind of like, oh, it's weird. But overall, solid on everyone else's part.
Okay.
Well, if
Christy,
there,
thank you so much for being here.
yeah, I was
Thank you,
about to say
Christy,
that
once again.
It's been a blast, you guys. Even if you're ragged on the show, I'm here for it.
There you go. Someone has to do it.
Someone has
Not
to
not
do
all
it.
heroes wear capes. So, with that being said, we're never duplicated.
Always appreciate it.
And forever melanated.